Hey, Stoney here with another game of Mechabellum, and in this game, we're going beyond our comfort zone. This is one of those games that I haven't really played, and everything is pretty much new to me. So let's see how I'm able to navigate this very strange game using the fundamentals of Mechabellum. Let's go. At the bottom here, I'm playing as an aerial specialist, and I am up against T-Con, playing as a marksman specialist. The MMR of this game is around 2000. To start off, I have the steel balls and the arc lights, and with these two units, I always like to start with an aggressive play. My opponent with tarantulas and marksman, so I have to be just a little bit careful with the positioning of my steel balls. You want to make sure that the first shot from this marksman will be from these crawlers, but you also want to make sure that before your last crawler of your first pack dies, your steel ball should ideally be engaging, and the crawlers behind your steel ball should ideally be moving forward. I mean, that's the perfect scenario. Often in game, you don't get that perfect setup, right? Now, for round one thing you'll notice is that we both started at the opposite side of the map. When this happens, there's really two options. Option one, you keep pushing on your side and you ignore your opponent on the other side. Or option two, you try to make your way back to defend the other side. Now, I do have the faster unit, and also I have the steel balls, which means capturing the tower is a lot easier for me than it is for my opponent. So in this case, I've decided maybe it's better for me just to stick on that side. Round two, we got reinforcement cards. Redeployment is offered, and redeployment does allow you to defend on the other side. I wanted to take redeployment not so much because I want to defend, it's just because I want to readjust some of my chaff units. And overall, redeployment is just an excellent card. At the highest level, I feel like redeployment is a card that's pretty much better than any card really that's being offered, because it gives you so much flexibility. It allows you to pressure where your opponent is the weakest. It allows you to do this cheeky flank stuff with virtually no downside, because you can just deploy stuff here, and if it doesn't work, just redeploy them back, right? There's no problem with that. It allows you to reflank. Yeah, sometimes people would put down a flank and it gets either missiled or it gets defended, and then your opponent sells out of the defender because they think, oh yeah, it would be stupid to flank me at the exact same spot again. Oh well, if you have redeployment, I'm gonna pop that unit back there, right? So for the first round, I used my redeployment on this crawler. I noticed that this crawler, being in the center originally, was arriving a little bit too slow to tank that first shot from the marksman, so I simply moved it forward like 10 meters, allowing the marksman to shoot it first. I added a pack of wasps. I think the wasp here is quite strong. Not only they can have jump drive, which makes it very strange, very difficult to defend, but also my opponent is heavy on the marksman. He's also marksman spec, so now rocking 4 marksmen in total. And wasp can also be used as a later chaff. So it's just overall a very utility heavy unit in this board. Oil did go down. Oil is very good. It's actually a very good timing as well, because now most of my steel balls are stuck on oil trying to make it across. The second tower going down. My opponent started to pressure on his side as well, so neither of us are currently really trying to defend on the opposing side. We're just trying to get to the tower as quickly as we can and try to figure out what is the end game angle when both of our towers are down and units start to move over to the other side. All right, round 3. I am aerial spec, so improved rate sounds pretty good to me. For my opponent, I mean, nothing is really that good for my opponent. I could have also taken Photon, it's pretty good on a steel ball. But in this case, since I'm aerial, might as well abuse the fact that I can get free unlocks for my units. So I took the Wraith, and I also redeployed my Wasp all the way to the other side, so that we not only defend this crawler flank here, after that's done, hopefully, if I timed it correctly, I could get the tower while the Wraith and the Wasps are engaging my opponent's army. So that's the first, the strange setup. Because, I mean, if you look at this board, right, this is such a weird board. We have armies that are virtually not looking at each other, except like this marksman. He's eyeballing his pack of crawlers, like, my precious. But no, like, my entire board here is just trying to get to that tower. His entire board is trying to get to my tower. But if you do play a lot of Mechabellum, and one of the fundamentals is that you never want to capture a tower when your army aren't engaging with his army, because that's just a waste of tower capture. So in this case, I'm trying to, defend and use that defensive time to kind of stall a little bit, giving my units a little bit of time to get the tower. But that's the idea anyways. So let's see how it works out in action. I've added another pack of crawlers on the flank. If my right flank didn't work out, at least I have a fallback flank to rely on. All right, the steel balls are coming down a little bit far out, which is not great. Now, good thing I brought my wasp along, which means the tankage is happening. Okay, steel ball is on target, but the crawlers got there first. Crawlers actually killed the tower before the steel balls. If I didn't have the crawlers, the steel balls would have done the job anyways, but it's always good to have insurance in a board that makes you uncomfortable. We got our first unit drop. I instant smashed Stonecrawlers. So you may wonder why Stonecrawlers. Whenever you're in sort of an opposite board situation, units with more range usually gets more value out of it. Because not only you have to kind of travel your army upward, and then once it's done, you got to start moving to the side. So if you have units that take advantage of that long travel time, for both armies really, you can definitely win. I've had some great success with Stonecrawlers in this sort of weird positioning. So the idea that I'm using on this board is actually to use the tower as my main tanking unit. I'm going to get that to level 3. I'm going to start putting Stonecrawlers behind the tower, and I'm going to put oil down. So his entire army will be walking into my oil, being shot at by my Stormcallers, with the option to get fire later on and just ignite and just kill everything here. My opponent took the Sabertooth. This is a very standard way of thinking, right? You already have the Tarantulas, Tarantula Saber, it's a good combo. But Tarantula Sabers are really good when you get into a headbutt. But they're not that great if you have to travel all the way to the tower and then travel to the army. Because by that point, the Sabertooth might be at the front. Your Tarantula might be at the back, right? The whole idea of getting your Tarantula to Chaffclear and the Saber to kill units will be out of whack simply because they have to travel down and to the side. A couple more interesting things to point out before I start this round. First of all, I repositioned a crawler. It used to be, I think it was down here in the corner, all the way up to the side to answer my opponent's crawler. Instead of adding like another arc light, because I really don't need chaff clear on this side. I just need units on the other side to kind of cause destruction, and then the steel ball should be able to clean up the rest. So reposition my crawler here, again showing the power of, or just the great value of the reposition card. And the second thing to point out is the steel balls. They are now moving back. So what I wanted to do is to have the Stormcallers shoot at everything, and hopefully once the Sabertooth are dead, my steel ball and level 2 crawlers are able to get in there and clean up this marksman. That's the idea. I bought additional wasp here just for some tanking. This one in the middle is probably a bit of an overinvestment. I mean, right now they're literally tanking the marksman for no reason. You could argue, right, if without these wasps, the marksman could be locking onto the Stormcallers, but right now this marksman don't even have range. So it's a bit of a premature move. I mean, I certainly want to have these wasps eventually, but I didn't have to have them this round. If I didn't buy these wasps, I could have bought another pack of Stormcaller. That would have been pretty OP. But even now, with everything on the oil and just being shot at by the Stormcallers, I'm pretty happy with this round. All right, we'll get into round 5. Let's take a look at the reinforcement drops. Mobile beacon is fun. Whenever you're in opposite directions, any tool that allows you to sort of navigate around your opponent's unit, that is excellent. So mobile beacon could be cool. M-Core, maybe? M-Core right now, I mean, really not a lot of units. I could have taken M-Core and put on steel balls or even Stonecrawlers, but might have been a little overkill. Mobile beacon I could use to directly control these 2 packs of Stonecrawlers, because on one side, one of my Stonecrawlers could probably just go straight up to the tower. On the other, the Stonecrawler could go down to the bottom and provide late round support. Alright, I did get jump drive on the Wasp, so I have a bit more flexibility. And in this case, after seeing last round, I was fully expecting my opponent to, well, directly answer my Stonecrawlers. So that could either be taking range on the marksman, that could be adding a lot more crawlers just to get distractions, right? There's a lot of things at play here. I also noticed that my opponent took these bangs and gave them range. So I thought, what is a great option that I can use to both defend, but also provide chaff in the later rounds for this Stonecrawler. So I figured, you know what, I'm just going to buy 3 packs of level 2 fangs, give them range, and we'll see what happens. But at the same time, I want to take advantage of this big gap in the middle, or used to be a big gap in the middle. I actually put a squad of Wasp with Crawler, and because I have extra mobile beacons to spare, I'm just going to get that straight to the tower. But what I didn't realize is that my opponent actually went with a pair of level 2 hackers, specifically to answer the steel ball arc-like composition. Alright, one of the pack is coming back down, becoming late arriving chaff. And very luckily, they escaped the death grip of these hackers, so they get to live and fight another day, hopefully for the same team. These wasps are getting in there, but they're not quite getting the tower, but they're definitely causing a bit of mayhem and also pulling some fangs away. I was a little concerned about this tower. It is level 1, it is quite bare, so don't want anything to go near it. And this wasp is just chipping down this tower. Not that it matters, because my late arriving steel ball crawler pack arrived, and with only marksman for defense, it's not able to clear those fast enough. Alright, Stonecrawlers mopping up the remainder of my opponent's army. Another thing you notice when you're playing sort of a cross map is that we don't tend to take a lot of technologies. The reason I haven't taken a lot of technology, right now the only tech I've taken are range on his fangs and then jump drive. Both are non-committal type of technology. Like jump drive, you almost always take it when you're running wasps, just because they're just such a good unit. And range on fangs, I took them specifically because I want them to defend the Stonecrawlers. And that was it. It was a very specific purpose. The reason that technology isn't taken more often in this sort of range, in this sort of fight, is because you don't know what you're up against. So far, every round feels like it's like a brand new board, right? But the time to take technology is the time you think that you're going to have a huge tempo swing. And this is the time. I'm looking at my opponent's HP is at 747. I knew that this could very well be the last round. So I asked myself, okay, what is the problem here on the board? Well, on the left-hand side, there's no problem. My Stonecrawlers, they're kicking ass, right? My opponent has no answers for it yet. I don't think he will. On the right-hand side, there's a bit of a problem because he's got these high-level fangs. He's got 2 hackers with shield bubble. It's one of the compositions I personally enjoy playing. And they're going into steel balls and low-level crawlers. So I needed something to overwhelm my opponent. And the way to do that is to double tech my crawlers. Because I knew that my opponent does not have adequate chaff clear on that side. The only chaff clear, the real dedicated chaff clear, is this Arclight. I guess you could count fans as chaff clear, but when you're running double upgraded crawler into fans, the moment they engage, the fans would just fall apart. All right, oil is being put down. Oil is pretty useful. This is a very strange way to put the oil, I think. I mean, it's not stopping any unit that really need movement. And there we go. Got crawlers just coming in, ripping everything apart. I mean, sure, we got lots of great big fans just going around, but the crawlers are getting close enough that the hackers actually was not able to hack that many steel balls. And that was my main concern. It was just getting a lot of steel balls hacked. All right, tower went down for me on the side. But I am stealing it right back with my high-level fans with drill. And with just these few marksmen, it just does not have the right unit combination to clear my fans and of course to kill my stonecrawlers. And with that, that is GG. So a couple of takeaways when you're running a sort of an opposite board or just like a weird board in general. You got to rely on the fundamentals. So what are the fundamentals? Well, fundamental 1 is that a complete pack of, like, I'll call it a battle group, if you will, should fulfill the 4 functions of having chaff clear, anti-HP, and anti-air. So an example of a pack would be here, right? So we got Stonecrawler and fans with range. Even though they are just 2 units, they cover all 4 aspects of a complete battle group, because the fan takes care of chaff clear, takes care of chaff themselves, and it takes care of anti-air. Stonecrawlers, they take care of some chaff clear, but most importantly, anti-unit or anti-HP. For my opponent's side, I think that is a bit lacking, especially if you look at this group right here. But there's 0 chaff clear for this group, which means later on, when they're faced into my range fans, there's nothing to clear them, which means my units get to shoot at his first. Here is more complete, right? The hacker is anti-unit. The fans take care of the other 3. So that's fundamental number 1. Just always make sure that you have these self-contained battle groups all over the board so that no matter where your opponent wants to throw things at you, because you don't know. Things are like kind of on the opposite side. So you have to be prepared in case the wind shifts. And then number 2 is to have ranged units, because both armies are going to be travel a lot. So if you have ranged unit that can shoot while they're traveling, it's fantastic. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you want to see another one, here's one for you. And I'll see you on the next one.
Prepare your tactics. Mechabellum's calling. Deploy your fortress. The battlefield's alive with swarms.